Greetings, it's Iain from RTO. Welcome to Friday, which means it's live album ranking. It's a lovely day here. It's a bit chilly. There's a few little clouds, but it's so bright I've had to alter the blinds. It's blinding me today, which I don't mind. Anyway, it's live album ranking day, and today we're doing a band that always went under the radar, but I love them. They're the great Welsh rock band called Budgie, formed in 1967, put together by the late Burke Shelley. They go down as one of the earliest heavy metal bands, according to Gary Sharp Young, and they were particularly of the new wave of British heavy metal, and later acts such as Metallica noted amongst being influenced. And they made some great albums, which we've already ranked, but there are also 6 live albums, and they all feature majority of people that were in the band. Okay, so we'll have a look at the 6 albums. So coming in at number 6 was released in 2022, the same year that sadly Burke passed away, and it's called Live Flight. I don't know where these are recorded. There's not much information, but you've got Burke Shelley on vocals and bass, Steve Williams on drums, and Big John Thomas, who also sadly died in 2016, on the guitars. So this live album, they're all good in their own little way. Opens up with a track off the Band Oiler album, which is a great album, and it's called Breaking All the House Rules. Really gritty, heavy guitars. Great vocal from Burke on that. Do like that track. Then they do another track off Band Oiler, but it's actually an Andy Fairweather Low cover, and it's called Ain't No Mountain. I do like that. Now the next song is a song, when they introduced it, it was a new song. I don't know when it was never on an album, and it's called Can't Get Out of Bed in the Morning. It is a typical song from Budgie. Lots of gritty guitar, great bass lines. It must have been recorded sometime in 2000, but not quite sure. It's a great little track, like that one. Next up is a track from the Impeccable album, and it's called Love for You and Me. I do like that track. It sounds really great. Okay, it's not the original band playing it, but it sounds great. Then we go back to Band Oiler for Napoleon Bonaparte's 1 and 2. You get both. Absolutely great track, and a really good version. And then we get the slower track, which is from Never Turn Your Back on Your Friend and the Brilliant Parents, and it's a 10-minute version of it. Lots of improv guitar work on that. Then we have a bit of Quackers and Bureaucrats, which is quite a little tongue-in-cheek track from the If I Were Britannia I'd Wave the Rules. I've always liked that little bit of a tongue-in-cheek thing. Then we have this little medley of In for the Kill off the title track of the album, and Guts from the very first album, Budgie. Great track. And the album ends up with the Brilliant Bread Fan from Never Turn Your Back on a Friend. Okay, it's not a bad album. The sounds, I think it's one of these sort of, we'll throw it out because we found some material for the cheap buck. There's no continuity. I don't know where it's recorded. It fades out here and there. It's good to hear some of these tracks, but I think it's been thrown together instead of put together. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 5 is an album that is put together. It's compiled of live tracks, and it's called "We Came, We Saw," from performances of Reading, one in 1980 and the other in 1982, and it was released at the same time as another album called "Heavier Than the Air," and it's a companion to this. So playing on this album, on the first recording you've got Burke Shelley, Steve Williams and John Thomas, and on the second track you've got them two plus Lindsay Bridgewater on keyboards. So the first disc is Reading Festival 1980. Opens up again with the brilliant Breaking All the House Rules from Bandoila. I love that track. Then we have a track off Power Supply, Crime Against the World. Now on the album it's a little bit, I wouldn't say smooth, but the production's not good. But when they play it live, boy is it good. It is far better. I do like that track. A bit of Napoleon Bonaparte, 1 and 2 are there again, of course. Classic Budgie, great track. There's some great drumming on that from Steve Williams in the live. Then we go back to the Power Supply album for a bit of 4-amp smash. So again, sounds a lot better live, I think. Staying with that album, Panzer Division Destroyed. I do like that. Then we have a single from 1980 called Wildfire. Pretty good. It's got some lovely guitar work on that from John Williams. Really is good. And then we have Bread Fan, which was a lost edit version that was not transmitted at the time. And that was from Never Turn Your Back on a Friend, of course. So we'll forward 2 years to the Reading Festival in 1982. And this one opens up 2 tracks from the Power Supply album. And that is 4-amp Smash, which is a better version than the other one for some reason. And Crime Against the World, which sounds pretty good as well. Then we have I Turn to Stone from Night Flight. I love this track. I like most of these tracks. They're just great live. Great vocal from Burke. Love that. Truth Drug from Deliver Us From Evil. Now, it's a track that I've never been that keen on in the studio, but when they play it live, it's certainly got a bit more guts. Superstar from Night Flight. Classic track, and it's got lots of guts. Another one from Night Flight. She Used Me Up. Probably the best version of that I've heard. Power Supply, we go for a bit of Panzer Division Destroyed again. And that was the last track. Now, 2 great recordings from Reading, and they're pretty good, decent ones from outside. I love listening to this, it's so raw. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6.5. Okay, then coming in at number 4. This is one of these BBC packages, and it's just called the BBC Recordings. So it's 2 discs. 1 disc, first 4 tracks are recorded at the legendary Paris Theatre in London in 1972. There's some tracks from the Reading Festival. Disc 2 starts off with a couple of tracks recorded on the John Peel Show. This is how underground they were. They used to be on the John Peel Show. And then there's some tracks that were recorded on the Friday Rock Show in 1971. And again, they put the other tracks from the Reading Festival 1982. So I'll go through who plays on here. We've got the original lineup. I've got Tony Borges on here, John Thomas at guitar, Steve Williams on the drums, as well as Ray Phillips, and of course Burke Shelley plays on everything. So the first track, so these are recorded back from 1972 at the Paris Theatre, and you get an absolutely belter version of Rake the Locks from the debut album Budgie. Absolutely brilliant. And they follow it up with Rocky Man from Squawk. That is good. Then we have Your Young Is World from Squawk, another great track. Then the last one from Paris Theatre is Hot as a Docker's Armpit, which I've always loved the title of that, and another great track from Squawk. Up next then was the Reading Festival one, so I'll just, which was Breaking All the Rules. Crime Against the World, Napoleon Bonaparte, Four-Mouth Smash, Power Decision, Wildfly. So the second track, our disc, we start off with tracks, a couple of tracks recorded on the John Peel show. The two tracks from the John Peel show. Both one's from If I Were Britannia I'd Rule the Waves, and it's Sky High Percentage. Really good, although it's not with the crowd, you know they're playing it loud, it sounds thing. And then they do a great version from Never Turn Your Back on a Friend, In a Grip of a Tyre Fitter's Hand. It's just plug and go stuff. It's raw, warts and all. Okay, the next two tracks were the ones from the Friday Rock show, and they had I Turned Stone from Night Flight and Superstar from Night Flight, and She Used Me Up. Again, it's just plug and go stuff. And then you get the stuff from Reading 82, Four-Arm Smash, Crime Against the World, I Turned to Stone, Truth Drug, Superstar, and She Used Me Up, and Power Decision. Yeah, solid mixture of previous album, put it all in one package. But the tracks that really highlight are the ones I did for the sessions on the Friday Rock show and John Peel. They're raw as you like. And I love that. Okay, there's no crowd atmosphere, but the playing is fantastic. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 6.6. Okay, then coming in at number 3. This is from 2002. And it's when they had a reunion, and it's recorded in San Antonio at the Sunken Garden Theatre in Texas, San Antonio. And performing for us was Burke Shelley on bass and vocals, Steve Williams on the drums, and Andy Hart on guitar and vocals. They open up from Power Supply, Crime Against the World. It's a very good version. These are very good recordings. Then we go to Impeccable for a bit of Melt the Ice Away. Great to hear that live. And it's a great track, I do like that. Back to Power Supply for Gunslinger. Another good track off that album. Staying with the album for Panzer Division Destroyed, one of the best versions I've got of that. I've Turned to Stone from Night Flight, always a favourite of mine. Then we have Black Velvet Stallion, which is a track off the If I Were Britannia I'd Waive the Rules. Then we get a little medley, 3 songs stuck together. In for the Kill, which is the title track, and then 2 tracks off the debut album, Rape the Locks and Guts. Great little medley. Really, I love it when they play their early stuff. Then we go to the great Band Oiler for Breaking All the House Rules. Brilliant version of that. Then we get Zoom Club from In for the Kill. Great track, and it's great to hear that live. Then we have Napoleon Bonaparte from Band Oiler, the whole thing. Great stuff. The single Wildflower from 1980. Great version of that. And then we have another sort of medley thing of Bread Fan and New Disintegrating Parachute Woman. Bread Fan from Never Turn Your Back on a Friend, of course, and the Parachute Woman from Budgie. Really like this album. Okay, it's not the original lineup, but boy, it's great. You've got Steve Williams on it. I think this is a great set, great sound, and I think there's some great tracks on this from that period, and from they played all their classics. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. Okay then, coming in at number 2. Now this is an album, and it's called Radio Sessions 1974 and 1978. And it was 2 concerts. The 1974s were taken in the Global Village in London, and the 78s were done in Los Angeles. The band at the time, of course, was Burke Shelley, Tony Borge, and Pete Boot. Great lineup. And we got some classics on here from the 74 sessions. We open up with Bread Fan. Whoa, great version. That's a track, of course, we know from Never Turn Your Back on a Friend. And then one of my favourite titles of a Budgie song, You're the Biggest Thing Since Powdered Milk. 8 minutes and 18 seconds of a great track. Lots of improv on there. Another great track from the Never Turn Your Back on a Friend album. Then we go to a 12-minute version of Hammer and Tongs from In For The Kill. One of my favourite tracks off that album. Great version of it. Zoom Club as well. 2 great tracks from In For The Kill straight after each other. Brilliant. And then we slow it down for a bit of Parents from Never Turn You Back on a Friend. And that gig ends with a bit of Rockin' Man from Squawk. Great version of that. So we'll move on to the 78 gig. And the band for this was Burke Shelley, Tony Burge, My for Isaac on guitar and Steve Williams. This one opens up with a ball-breaking version of Melt the Ice Away from Impeccable. Brilliant track. Then In the Grip of a Tire Fitter's Hand from Never Turn Back Your Friend. Great version of that. Crowd love it. The Americans love this band. Smile Boy Smile from Impeccable. Another great track. Really good live as well. Much better than the studio. Then they do a little medley. In For The Kill. And this time they put it with You're the Biggest Thing Since Powdered Milk. How great how they put them tracks together. Then we have Love For You and Me from Impeccable. Great version of that as well. A 10-minute version of Parents where we have some great guitar work from Tony Burge. Brilliant, brilliant. Probably one of the best versions of that. And then go to one of my favourite albums again, Bandoyle, and this time we get Who Do You Want For Your Love. Brilliant. A great version of Don't Dilute the Water from Impeccable. The classic Breaking All the House Rules. Sounds great. And we end this one with a Bread Fan. One of the greatest songs I ever wrote. And it's a brilliant. I think this is Budgie at their best for me. The radio broadcasts and the sound's pretty good. I really enjoy this live album. Great mixture of some classic songs. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.3. But the number one album for me, this came out in 1998, and it's called Heavier Than the Air, Rarest Eggs, and it's recorded between 1972 and 1981. The first 4 tracks feature the one and only Burke Shelley, Tony Burge and Ray Phillips. Tracks 5 and 6 feature Burke Shelley, Tony Burge, Steve Williams and My for Isaac. And tracks 9 to 7 will feature Burke Shelley, John Thomas and Steve Williams. And tracks 10 features Burke Shelley, Tony Burge and Mr. Phillips. Recorded at quite a lot of places, in concert, some more tracks from the Paris, John Peel, Friday Rock Show and John Peel. So they all come from bits and bobs. So this one opens up with a brilliant version, and they've cleaned this up from the previous albums because some of these have been on the others, but they've sort of cleaned them up a little bit. Rape the Locks, brilliant version. Squawk, Your Young is a World, brilliant. Hot Docker's Armpit from Squawk. A cleaned up version of High Percentage, Sky High Percentage from If Britannia I'd Wave the Rules. In Grip of a Tie Fitter's Hand, brilliant, brilliant track. I Turned to Stone, Night Flight from Night Flight. You're a Superstar, She Used Me Up from Night Flight. Then another version of As Hot as a Docker's Armpit. The author from the original album debut, brilliant to hear that live. Raw, Whiskey River from Squawks on here. It's great. And then the Nude Distinguishing Parachute Woman from Budgie. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. We have Bread Fan. Never Turn Your Back on a Friend. And then they do You're the Biggest Thing Since Powdered Bread from that. Powdered bread, powdered milk. Melt the Ice About. Another great version of In a Grip of Tire Fitter's Hand. Smile Boy. And this, that medley of For the Kill and The Biggest Sin Since Powdered Milk. Love for You and Me's on here as well. Parents, great version. Who do you want for your love from Bam Boiler? Don't dilute the water again. Breaking All the House Phones and Bread Fan. Okay, it's got a lot of stuff that I've already got, but this sounds, I don't know what they've done to it. They've really cleaned this up, and it's just a brilliant live album. Everything in one place, and I do like this. It's got, and you do get the dulcet tones of Mr. John Peel on here as well. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7.6. So there we go. There's Budgie. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of Budgie, and I know there's a lot of you out there that love Budgie. And I thought I'd give them a little bit of love with their live material. It was a band I'd have loved to have seen, because they do sound a lot better live than they do in the studio, and I love the studio stuff, so that's saying something. Okay, that's all for this one. Coming up next, we've got a brand new album. And it's a band that I've been a fan of since, well, I remember these at the beginning. And it's the great Praying Mantis. They've been around forever. It's one of the bands from the new wave of heavy metal that sort of never really hit the big time. But they've always made some great albums, and they brought out a new album last week called Defiance. So I'll be reviewing that. So we'll see you that for later. Bye for now.